Joining us now to discuss this and more, Texas Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw. Congressman Crenshaw, I'm sure you don't like how Biden enacted this through executive action, but do you have issues with the policy itself?
I do. I'll get to those in a second. First, I want to say how odd it is to agree with CNN's analysis on something. This is electoral politics. It's pretty clear that they did a poll. I think CNN reported they did do a poll. It polls well on their far left, more progressive base that they need to appease right now. And I think what's frustrating about all this is that there's not really a guiding principle for this administration when it comes to immigration. What do they believe? I mean, they rolled back all of Trump's policies. Why? Because they're Trump's policies. All right, and then we had a massive disaster at the border for the last 3 years, and they finally said, geez, even Democrat governors and mayors are complaining. Maybe we should do something about that. We're going to lose independence. And so they did a couple things. Well, we have yet to see if those are really meaningful things. They made some deal with Mexico to get Mexico to do more. They just announced this asylum change, but we have yet to see the results of it. And that made the progressives mad, so now they're doing this. So it's very reactive, and it's all political, which makes it cynical. Now, do I like rulemaking instead of lawmaking? No, I also don't like that. But let's get to the policy itself, your actual question. There's a couple of problems with it. One, like any change to immigration, doing a favor for one group because you feel compassion for them. The thing is you're still allowing them to get favors over the people who did it right. My stepmom is one of those. My stepmom is married to a U.S. citizen, my dad, and they did it the right way, right? She didn't come here illegally. You just did it the right way. And you waited in line, and there's a lot of people like that. When I talk to immigrants who have done it the right way, this stuff really makes them upset. It makes them mad because it is hard to get citizenship. It's hard to get a green card. It's hard to wait in line. We're America. We're going to have a line out the door forever, and it's going to be infinitely long forever. And so you have to have a process, and it has to be fair. And look, the current process is it's not impossible to get a green card, but you'd have to leave the country and apply properly. That's the current process. Now he's saying, no, you don't have to do that. You know what? All the other people who did it the right way, you know what? You did it the wrong way. It's okay. No consequences. So I do have a problem with it on just an ethical level. You could also suggest that because this now exists, there's now opportunity for bride sales, effectively. So if a woman's been here for 10 years and now they know they can get a green card this way, what do trafficking groups do? What do those groups do that prey on illegal immigrants? They look for opportunities like this. That's a possibility as well. It's another downside I'm not sure they're thinking about.
So just 2 weeks ago, as you noted, President Biden put some pretty severe restrictions on asylum for the migrants who cross the U.S.-Mexico border illegally. As you know, a lot of Democrats thought Biden went too far with that order. Republican Senator Tom Cotton, on the other hand, called it a sham. Your governor, Greg Abbott, said Biden was, quote, gaslighting Americans. Do you think that there's a reason to be mad about it? Because, I mean, it does seem like the kind of measure that Republicans have been calling on Biden to do. And I get, in your view, he was late and on, but it still is what I would think Republicans would think would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, look, I don't hate something just because the other side does it. I've refused to do politics that way. The policy is pretty similar to the deal that Sinema and Langford struck, and I think a lot of conservatives hate it because it has been presented as allowing a certain number of immigrants in a day just for free. That's not really what it does. It counts and counters. So. Look, I would just be cautiously optimistic about it. I don't know if it's going to do any good. I don't know if they're going to look for loopholes. I don't know if it's all just messaging. It's a little too early to tell, but I'm not going to randomly criticize it either for the reasons you just stated. If something decreases illegal immigration, I'm for it. That's how my brain works.
Let's turn to Israel because Prime Minister Netanyahu today publicly accused President Biden and his administration of withholding weapons for Israel. The Biden administration said this afternoon they don't know what Netanyahu is talking about. What's your reaction to this? Is this Netanyahu punching back at President Biden after the ceasefire deal fell through? What's your take?
So there's so many weapon sales. I'm not exactly sure what the context is of that particular back and forth. Obviously, the Biden administration had withheld some weapon sales. There was the recent story about Democrats finally lifting a hold on F-15s and JDAM sales to Israel, citing the hesitation to be, the war in Gaza, humanitarian aid, the same thing you've been hearing. Now, the problem with that logic, of course, is when you're talking about JDAMs, these are precision weapons, which, by the way, you should want. You shouldn't want dumb bombs being used in Gaza. You should want precision weapons. F-15s, I mean, they're not going to be F-15s over Gaza tomorrow just because you sell them to the Israelis. These weapons are primarily for deterrence against Iran. And there shouldn't be any disagreement about that. And look, these senators know that. The congressmen who are holding this knew that. The administration knows that. The problem is they have a progressive left-wing base in an election year that doesn't like Israel and likes to chant from river to the sea. And so, again, they're playing electoral politics instead of just following consistent guiding principles. And that's a problem, because it gets you in these contradictory statements and these contradictory positions. It's better just to follow guiding principles and leave it at that. Israel is defending itself, and we're going to help Israel, our ally. They're not just defending themselves against terrorist attacks from Hamas and Gaza. They're defending themselves against Hezbollah. They're defending themselves against Iran, who has already shown its ability to, they launched like 300 missiles at Israel not too long ago. So these weapons sales are for great power conflicts. They're not for rooting out terrorists necessarily, and everyone needs to understand that.
Texas Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw, thanks so much. Appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Jake.